Okay, awesome. Hey guys, I'm Kim. I am the product manager for CoughDrop, and I know some of you guys are familiar faces from stopping by our booth, and so this is going to be a rapid fire CoughDrop A to Z, all the things that are in CoughDrop. And definitely, if you have time, stop back by our booth. We're at 513 in the Forbes AAC booth, and there's a lot of exciting things happening at CoughDrop, so come by and check us out, and we can spend a little bit more time. But I'm going to try to get through the entire alphabet and all the things within CoughDrop within the 20 minutes and save a little bit of time for you guys to ask any questions. So let's start with A, and I think this is one of the biggest draws to CoughDrop. So any device, anytime. So CoughDrop is device agnostic, meaning it will run across all platforms. So we run on Windows, iOS, and on Android. So you can even use your Kindle tablet as well. And so you have a consistent experience across all platforms. Regardless on how you log in to our software, you're going to have exactly the same experience, the same user interface every time. The cool thing and that we really want to push out is this idea of collaborating. And so if I'm in my office and I'm making changes, when you go into your office, you will then see those changes if we're sharing a communicator. If I go in and I make edits for my student or for my patient, when they get home and they do their sync, those edits will appear on their CoughDrop seamlessly without having to do any additional work or take the device away from them to do the edits. B is beyond basic. I would like to think I'm a little beyond basic, although I do love me a Stanley. If you need a Stanley, we're doing a giveaway. So for basic, CoughDrop is loaded with so many features, and I will admit, as a clinician, I had no idea, and I wish that I had CoughDrop in my life. So within CoughDrop, you have a lot of integrated tools and things that we'll get to, but it's so much more than just an AAC app. So just want you guys to start thinking about all the things that are contained within CoughDrop. So cloud-based, so I said device agnostic, right? So it runs anywhere. It lives within the cloud, meaning that all of our content and everything is being constantly uploaded and synced to the cloud, and that's why you have that user experience where it's super seamless from device to device. But a lot of questions come up with this. So do I have to be on Wi-Fi to run CoughDrop? The answer is no. So CoughDrop will run regardless if you're on Wi-Fi or not, but if you do make edits and you need to do a sync, that does require Wi-Fi. So frequently we recommend, if you know there's been changes or anything has been updated, do a quick sync and then you can go about your day and you don't need to touch the cloud again. Another thing is D. We have dedicated AAC systems. So again, you can tell we're partnered with Forbes AAC. So we run on all of their devices. So any of the Pro Slates, so they have the Pro Slate 8, the Pro Slate 10, the Pro Slate 13 that also has eye gaze. And then we also have the Win Slate. And so you can get the Win Slate with or without eye gaze, and everything available through Forbes can easily run CoughDrop. So know that even though you're using CoughDrop perhaps in a classroom or through your organization, if you have a communicator that has a funding possibility, start exploring a dedicated device. So just know that that's an option, and again, come by our booth and you can see that in action. Evaluations, my favorite. How many other people love doing evals? All that report writing, all that fun data tracking, right? So with the evaluation tool that's built into CoughDrop, it's similar to AAC Genie. I can run through it. It's going to give me a ton of really good information. And the cool thing with this is that I can run it on my account. I don't need to create an account for every user that I'm doing an eval. So maybe I get a new communicator that comes into me and I'm thinking like, they might be a really good candidate for AAC. What can I do? I don't want to go through the process, create an account, start everything up. In my personal professional account, I can go in, run the evaluation, save it, and I can pull up all this information. Then I can also use this evaluation tool not only for a one-time assessment, but for progress monitoring. So it gives me a lot of good information within this report. Then for family, this is my favorite, and this was my CoughDrop aha moment. So when Forbes purchased CoughDrop over a year ago, we sat down and met with the developers of CoughDrop, and this picture for me is what makes sense about CoughDrop and why it's so unique. So when I come in here and I see all the family members using different devices but using the same language as a valid form of communication, this is everything that we want, right? So everybody on different tablets, so you have an Android, you have iOS, right? You have a Kindle. Everybody, though, is looking at the same language. So then there's no expectation or identifying that who's using the communication device. We're all speaking the same language. And so getting family involved in supporting that communicator and giving them access to that vocabulary is so important. G, goals. So after assessment comes our favorite thing, right? Goals. I know, I can't tell you, how many times did you guys go on like Teachers Pay Teachers and get like a goal bank or like Google Goals? I'm guilty. So within CoughDrop, you can actually pull up goals that correlate to what you're seeing on your evaluation. So there are goals that are built in, there are community-based goals, research-based goals, and you can create your own goal. And the awesome thing is that you can also add these ideas of badges, and these help you to celebrate the milestones with your communicator. So especially those kiddos that are motivated by like leveling up or playing video games and getting that feedback and that reward, the badges allow them to track their own progress, and then they get the badge that lands on their communicator profile once they've achieved that goal. So it might be things like asking WH questions. Maybe I'm targeting verbs, right? So I want to look at go and I want to look at stop. And so I'm going to target those words, and the app will track those responses for me and create data so that I can make a decision on if we have achieved that goal or do we want to move on. The next one is heat maps. This, as an SLP, is huge for me. So when I look at the heat maps, I'm able to see, is my AAC user able to target the entire screen? So a lot of times, right, we think, oh, they're just choosing not to hit that corner, we're not doing that. We don't have the data to say, why are we not hitting this corner? They don't like that word, they don't see that word, they prefer this corner. Why? Is it because of access and we can't physically reach it? Is it because of vision and we can't see that? What is happening? And so I highly, highly recommend pulling up this heat map occasionally if you feel like something's going on. It produces it not only in the evaluation, but also within the usage report. So the top one is what the feedback is for your evaluation tool, and then the bottom is from your usage report. If I start seeing like this one, right, with that corner that's showing up really like, oh, we're having some missed hits, we're not really going there, I'm going to be calling in OT, PT, possibly a vision therapist, and going, why are we not hitting this corner? Is it because I can't physically reach that corner, or is it because I'm not seeing that corner? What's happening? So a really nice tool that I think is frequently overlooked is the heat map. Integrated access, amazing. And again, you can see this in action on any of the Forbes devices. But with this, I'm able to go in, I have touch, I have scanning, I have my dweller head mouse, as well as eye tracking. And all of this and the adjustments can be made within the application, which is so nice. So know that those are in there. And again, if you have someone, right, I'm sure we've all had it, the kid that's like, boop, 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 boop. So if you have one of those, you can actually change, right, that feature. So we know we're going to do one hit and then we're not going to hit for a minute. So just know there's so many options when it comes to access and behaviors within the menu. Speaking of all of the options, right, jam-packed for Jay. So in the summary, you can see all of the things that you can do. So you have access to all of the evaluations, modeling, things like that. We'll get into some of that in a minute, but I also want you to think about vocab. So we've talked a lot about, right, what CoughDrop can do in terms of functionality and tools, but also think about it for your vocabulary. And so recently I was talking to a school out in Missouri, and they were looking at this because there's so many different vocabulary options built into the software that you can trial different vocabs. So keep this in your mind as we continue to talk and come back around to reports. So if I'm looking at it, I have quick core, which is going to be a core vocabulary. Vocal flair is also core vocabulary, but it has different categories that stay consistent across the top. Communicate and Sequoia are going to be based on pragmatic functionality. So if I'm looking to get quick communication responses, especially for those kids that maybe are late to the AAC game or have been slow to adopt AAC, giving them an opportunity to communicate quickly and effectively what's going on with them so we can reduce behaviors and focus on the communication. So just know there is a ton of vocabulary options within CoughDrop. So keeps track. Everybody loves the word cloud, right? So with the word cloud, you can see it in a list form, or you can print these out. Parents love to see these, and so you can see what words are being used most frequently. In addition, when we get to reports, you can see what types of speech are we using. Are we using core? Are we using fringe? Are we using only nouns? My pet peeve. So those things will be tracked for you within the application. You can even do this on an organization level and see what is the vocabulary that we're teaching. L is an awesome one, so languages, and I think this has been a hot topic since we've been here. So anything that's available within Google Translate, you can translate anything within CoughDrop. So last week I did aboard the Quick Core, we translated over to Bengali. I think this morning we did Russian. So any of those, we have it integrated in. You can copy the page set and then it will translate over into whatever language you're looking to. Also, if you have anybody in Portuguese, our core word is available in Portuguese with the correct syntax. So that's a whole nother hot topic. That's a whole nother day for not a 20-minute presentation, but just know that that's an option if you have someone that you're working with in Portuguese as well. Modeling. How many of you send stuff home and parents are like, but now what? Like, I see it, but I don't have time for that. I don't know what to do. Within CoughDrop, there are modeling ideas. You can send them out to parents. You can screenshot them and send them home. But you can target a specific word or a task. It gives you ideas for games or conversations to have surrounding that targeted vocabulary. So when you're doing that, if you said, hey, Kim, when you go home and you work with your son, I want you to work on the word and. So when you're reading the story tonight, I want you to focus on this vocabulary word. I can do that. That's concrete. I know where it is. I know what to do. And that's something I can do as a parent. It makes me feel much more empowered. The other thing, talking about a collaboration tool, is notes. So within the software, you can do notes. They can be goal specific, they can be session specific, they could be a general update, and these notes can be alerted out to either team members or caregivers. And so within the notes, I can say we had a great session, and then I have built-in templates. So if I want it to capture my note of what we did today, I can throw that in there. If I just want a quick note like, hey, we did a great job with Go and Stop today. When you're playing with Hot Wheels tonight, can you do the same? So really quick, easy communication between everybody on the team to promote that collaboration. Organization management is amazing. Any of you guys working in big districts or healthcare systems? Yeah, let's do some hands. Okay, so the cool thing is we have this organization management tool. So within CoughDrop, you're able to keep your entire group organized. So typically it's your head SLPs, your AT team are going to be in as the manager roles. Then you have your supervisors, which are your clinicians. They could be OT, PT, speech, ABA, so any of those would be your clinicians. Then you have your communicators, and they're all linked in one place. So when I go in to look at a report, I can look at it from the top of my organization all the way down. So who's using it? How are we using it? What's happening? Then premium boards, these are absolutely beautiful. These are exclusive to Forbes customers. So the same Quick Core Vocal Flair Sequoia that you all love, it is the same content, but it's taken to the next level. And then Core Word is absolutely amazing. I think that's probably our most popular system, so it's available again on all of the Forbes. It has a predictive text feature. So if I go in and I say, I like to, and it's going to keep going forward. So it's leading me down the path of how to build that sentence. So I like to, and then if I say play, it's going to open that for me and then lead me to a choice to play ball. Then it will reset and I'll come back to the beginning. So it's a really nice option for someone that you're working with when you're trying to build both literacy and language, and that's the core word. So QR code access, when you guys leave, or if you didn't see it already, there is a CoughDrop poster with Christine from AAC for the SLP Facebook group. And so she collaborated with CoughDrop and created a playground board with a QR code. And what's unique about this is anybody that comes onto this playground can scan the QR code. CoughDrop, without being installed on whatever mobile device you're using, will load this exact communication board. The idea being, if you're on a playground and you have a static display, I'm not going to be running back and forth, right? And if I'm on a swing and I'm having a meltdown because maybe sensory-wise it's too much, the act of having to calm me down, take me out, move me over to this board and have a conversation about it, I don't know about you, but I have no desire to do this at this point. So if I have it on my phone and I can say, stop, go, I like it, I'm done, and I have it on my phone, so much easier and so much more empowering for both the parent or caregiver as well as the individual using the app. We're also working with other organizations like the Florida Aquarium and some other amusement parks to start implementing and rolling this out. So if you think about the different places that you go, and as a parent, being able to scan that and have access is pretty incredible. Then reports. So on to R, we want to make sure that we have comprehensive reports so that we can use this data to make plans. And I will say I'm guilty of this so often, right? We think in our head or perceive that things were a certain way. However, if we stop and look at the actual data that's driving those decisions, it's very different. And so this is concrete, it is black and white, this is what happened. And so when I'm looking at this, I know how many sessions, how many words, what type of vocabulary, what time of day, all of that. And I can then direct my therapy to focus on these different areas based on the feedback. So one example of how I would use this would be the core versus fringe, right? So typically you want to see an 80-20 split, right? So you want to be more in the core, less in the fringe. But what happens to all of our new AAC communicators? Our fringe is probably closer to that 80%. Our core is this much. So what is it that we're hitting? Well, if I come over and look, I'm going to guess it's nouns. So this is back to my soapbox on nouns. So we tend to do, right, I want, specialty item. Or we just bypass that and we make a whole new page that's just their favorite preferred items to get them going. That's great initially, but where are we going from there? So we need to have a plan to move beyond. And these reports not only hold our communicators and their caregivers accountable, but us as clinicians, which I think is important. Symbols, we have a bunch. So there's open symbol sets. If you're creating something like the playground board, you want to make sure you're using an open symbol set that's accurate and available for everyone. But then we also have access to PCS, symbol sticks, and lesson picks. So when you go in and get your account, then you can add those as well. T is for tools. I'm super excited. So we have a redesign coming, which we'll talk about more, but this is our new practitioner tool menu. So for all of you practitioners working, you can have access quickly to your communicator caseload. You can run an evaluation, pull up your goals, modeling ideas, make a note, pull up those reports and your logs. So it's super quick access, and we want to make sure we're saving you time and making a product that's super intuitive. So super excited. How many times can I say super? We have a redesign that's about to launch. So again, if you want to stop by the booth, you can kind of give it a beta test run. So hopefully in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll see how hard I can work. We'll have that out and start doing some in-field beta testing. So all of the same functionality that you all love about CoughDrop will remain. It's just going to be more user-friendly, more intuitive, and then we're going to continue to progress and invest within CoughDrop to make it the app that you guys want. So if you all have feedback, we're open to that and have a running list so that we can continue to incorporate your feedback. Then videos for V. So in V we have videos. We have an option where you can record a video and send it to the caregivers or the team. So if there's something exciting that happened within your session and you want to share it, you can record it within the app and share it out. If you want to give mom and dad instructions, so yes, we're doing verbs, we're working on go, stop, take the car, hit this button, move it here, hit this button. So then mom and dad have an idea of what's going on in the therapy session and they're able to incorporate those things at home. Videos tend to go a long way with carryover. How about where? So we're at W. This is an option, and we get a lot of questions about this. All of the features within CoughDrop that track data, including the geotags, is optional. And when you load your account, the option default is to opt out. So if you have concerns about privacy, things like that, the default is to opt out. You can opt in, and each item is individual. And so I can opt to track my data and not share my geotag location, or I can choose to show it. And something cool coming down the line with the where is hopefully as we create more partnerships, if I have this on and I'm connected to Wi-Fi, it will know that I walked into a Chick-fil-A and it will prompt me if I want to pull up that board. So that's where that is in the software and why it's there and what our future plans are for that. Okay, going really fast. We got X. Honestly, I couldn't come up with anything. So this is Ray. We had Max and Ray. Unfortunately, Max didn't make it, but this is Ray. He's an X-ray tetra. You cannot get him with CoughDrop. But X was a hard one to fill. So YouTube and Zendesk, these go together. So if you need support, please use these resources. There are over 320 YouTube videos on how-tos. And then in our Zendesk, as you search by help topic, then you can go through and see the YouTube videos that are linked with those as well. So thanks guys for hanging in there, CoughDrop A to Z. I know we're over. Any quick questions? If not, definitely stop by, see the poster, and then come by and see me at the booth and we can walk through it in a little bit more detail.